Welcome to the playthrough of Fields of Agincourt by Logos Games, a combative tile placement game inspired by the Battle of Agincourt in the year 1415. Each player will begin with a recruitment scorecard as well as 8 battle units in the color of their choice. Stack the landscape tiles face down to the side of the play area. You will also have a pile of battle modifiers that will be placed next to the play area. Make sure that the shield is side up. Each player starts with 2 recruitment points. Each player begins with 3 tiles that will be passed out face down. Do not show the other players your tile hand. Once all of the players have their hand, the draw phase begins. Tiles are placed face up next to the battlefield. Always turn up one more tile than the number of players. In this 4-player game, 5 tiles are chosen. There are special rules for a 2-person game. See the rule booklet for these instructions. The first player is the player that has a birthday closest to October 25th. Identify first player with the first player marker. In this case, a black meeple. Player 1 gets to choose first. Then, in a clockwise fashion, each player takes 1 tile. Players may choose any of the 5 tiles. Pay attention to your hand as well as special tiles that have special abilities. The final tile that was not chosen is called the survey tile. This tile is held by the last player in turn order. Once everyone has taken their turn, this survey tile will be placed during the Survey the Land phase of the game. Draw phase is now complete, and player turns will now be taken. On each turn, a player will play 1 tile in the battlefield and gain recruitment points. In turn order, each player now takes their turn. A player's turn is broken into 4 steps: tile phase, action phase, battle modifier, and end of turn. Red is ready to begin. For the tile phase, Red will place a tile from their hand into the battlefield. He may play any of the 4 tiles in his hand. A forest tile is played. This tile is marked with 3 recruitment points. Red adds those to his scoreboard. These points can be used to purchase battle units and battle modifiers. Now that a tile has been placed, Red gets an action phase. Red decides to seize the land by purchasing an archer unit. Purchased battle units may only be played onto the tile just placed by the player. The cost to play the battle unit is 2 recruitment points. Only 1 battle unit may be purchased during a player's turn. This completes Red's action phase. Next is battle modifier. Red may spend an additional 2 recruitment points to purchase a battle modifier. These are hidden strength tokens you will add to your units. Red decides to not purchase a battle modifier at this time, and ends his turn. Play proceeds clockwise to White. White plays a town tile. All tiles must be placed next to other already placed tiles. White gains recruitment points and adds them to her scoreboard. For her action, she plays a footman unit on top of the town tile, paying 2 points from her scoreboard. White also decides to pass on buying a battle modifier and ends her turn. Green plays a town tile next to an already played town tile. This creates a 2-tile bastion. Bastions are centers of strength during the final battle. Players will fight over bastion points throughout the game. Green does not want White to own this bastion, so he decides to contest the bastion. Green purchases his own footman and places it on the tile he played this turn. Blue wants in on the action. He plays a town tile and will place his footman on his played tile. The shield on the tiles represents recruitment points earned, but also battle strength during the final battle. Currently, White and Green are at a strength of 3, while Blue is at a strength of 2. We will see if any of the players try to increase their power as the game goes on. Bastions may be a maximum of 3 tiles. Bastions may be created by forest tiles, hill tiles, or town tiles. Plains do not form bastions. There is no limit to how many plains tiles may connect. This 3-town bastion is now complete or closed. Red has no footman unit fighting for this bastion. However, There are special ways for closed bastions to become open again. Each player has completed their turn. To end the round, the last player will survey the land. The last player, blue for this round, now places the survey tile. It may be placed anywhere he chooses so long as a 4-tile bastion is not created. The survey tile does not gain any recruitment points. At the beginning of round 2, the first player marker is passed clockwise to the next player. Now white is the first player. Red is the last player and will have the survey tile. Draw phase now begins with 5 new tiles placed face up. Ooh, a graveyard tile is up for the taking. This is a powerful tile and is likely to be chosen early. Also, face up is another special tile, a tower tile. The golden tower on the forest tile means it must be played on top of another tile. This can be very powerful if used wisely. Again, tiles are chosen by each of the 4 players with the survey tile going to the last player in the round. White decides to play a hills tile. He gains his recruitment points and plays a scout battle unit on the tile. Green has decided to play a tower tile. Tower tiles can be played atop of any tile that is currently in play. Tower tiles can be used to weaken or strengthen a tile. Red is now weaker because the shield he is on is now a 1, which is far less than he had before. Green still earns recruitment for placing a tile, even though he placed it under Red's unit. At the end of Green's turn, he decides to pay 2 recruitment points to purchase a battle modifier. Battle modifiers have a battle value of either 1, 2, or 3. After it is chosen, it is looked at and played face down upon any of Green's units. Blue decides to play a plains tile. The plains tile is a tile that is reserved for the cavalry. The cavalry has 3 special abilities that will be explained later in the game. When a plains tile is played, it automatically brings out the cavalry at no cost. Recruitment points from the tile played are still earned. Red is going to play a tower tile. His archer was weakened by green earlier, so he will now play a tower to regain vital points that will help him win the bastion at the end of the game. To finish his turn, he decides to purchase a battle modifier and place it next to his archer in the forest. Again, the survey tile is the final tile played in a round. It can be connected to any previously played tile. Round 3 commences with draw phase, and players take their turns. White decides to play a graveyard tile, bringing out the Plague. When a graveyard tile is played, 4 Plague cubes are placed on the graveyard. The Plague cubes remain on the tile until a Plague activator tile is played. Battle units cannot be played on a graveyard tile and no recruitment points are earned. In round 4, Blue will attempt to play a town tile. The placement he chooses is not allowed, because there are already 3 town tiles adjacent to each other. Once 3 like landscape tiles are connected, no other like landscape tiles can be added. Blue must find a new place in the battlefield to add his own tile. During round 5, a Plague Activator is played. This tile will activate the current graveyard that is in play. For placing the activator, Red has the privilege of moving the Plague cubes first. A Plague Activator cannot be placed next to an active graveyard. In turn order, each player will get the chance to control the spread of the Plague. Red picks up all 4 cubes and moves them to an adjacent tile. Moving clockwise, White will pick up 3 cubes and place them. Then Green will pick up 2 cubes. And finally, Blue will move the final cube. Cubes have 2 effects on the tiles. They destroy all battle modifiers on the Plagued tile and cancel any victory points that a player might earn at the end of the game. Plague cubes can only be removed by the cavalry. Red will complete his turn by purchasing a battle modifier and playing it on one of his troops. Blue has a cavalry in play. This leads to an interesting choice. After placing a tile, a player may purchase a unit for that tile or take a cavalry action. You may not do both. There are 3 distinct cavalry actions. The first is seen here, removing a plague cube. To remove a cube, the cavalry must be adjacent to a plagued tile. He removes the cube, paying 2 recruitment points for the cavalry action. The round ends with surveying the land. We will now skip ahead several rounds to show some late-game action. Green sees a chance to play his cavalry. Green will play a plains tile next to an empty hills tile. During his action phase, Green can move his cavalry from one plains tile to another, then perform a cavalry action. He will perform the second cavalry action, troop insertion. Normally, units may only be placed on the tile you are playing this round. Troop insertion allows you to place a unit into an empty tile adjacent to your cavalry. There is one other way to place a unit onto an empty tile. Blue decides to play a tower tile on top of an open hills tile. Because he has played all of his scouts into the field, he can play his mercenary unit. Mercenary units may be played on hills, forests, or towns. Blue has now joined White and Green to fight over a hills bastion. Another Plague Activator will be played. Plague cubes remove battle modifiers and nullify the shield points of a tile. Watch how players use the Plague cubes to wipe out battle modifiers on an opponent's tiles. Battle modifiers removed by the Plague are placed back into the supply. Our third cavalry action will now be demonstrated. Troop transport. This is where the cavalry will pick up a battle unit from the tile and transport it to another plains tile. The unit will then be dropped off into an empty landscape tile. Battle modifiers may not be transported with the unit. White plays a plains tile next to an empty landscape tile. White's cavalry is next to her scout. The cavalry picks up the scout and transports it to an empty plains tile, then drops it off at an empty adjacent hills tile. All 3 cavalry actions cost 2 recruitment points. Play continues. Another graveyard is played. We will now demonstrate what happens when new plague cubes run into cubes placed earlier in the game. Green has played a Plague Activator. Green makes the initial move with all 4 Plague cubes. Each player now takes a turn to move the cubes following a golden rule. Always leave 1 Plague cube behind. Blue picks up 3 cubes and places them on the forest tile that already has a cube. Red also picks up 3 cubes so that 1 is left behind. This plague outbreak will spread further than previous plagues because it is encountering tiles that already have cubes. Remember, when moving cubes, always leave 1 behind. See our rule booklet for a few more rules about the plague, including what happens if it hits a dead end. We will now move to the final battle. All tiles have been played, including any tiles left in the player's hands. Any extra recruitment points are lost and the scoreboards are turned over to the final battle scoring. The final battle is the scoring phase of Agincourt. Players earn victory points through shields and removed plague cubes. The player with the most points will be the victor of the final battle. First, each player earns 2 victory points for each plague cube they removed with their cavalry during the game. Second, we record the victory points from underneath each cavalry. White cavalry scores 2 victory points for her plains tile. As victory points are scored, remove units from the tiles. Green's cavalry gains 1 victory point and removes his cavalry from the tile. Blue gains 1 victory point. Red gains 2 victory points for his cavalry. Next, we will deal with the dead. Any tile with a remaining plague cube on it loses all victory points for that tile. Cover up the victory point shield with the plague cube. This will greatly affect the overall victory point totals of many bastions. It also means that if you win a bastion, you will not add the victory points from that plagued tile. Next, we will resolve all uncontested bastions. White gains 3 victory points from the single hills tie. Blue gains 4 victory points from the single town tile. Red gains 3 victory points from the single hills tile, and green gains 3 points from the single town tile. Now we will look at a contested bastion. If there are 2 or 3 linked landscape tiles, all of the points are totaled up and will go to the victor. For example, in this forest bastion, the total points up for grabs is 8 points. 3 plus 3 plus 2. If a player controls a bastion alone, then they will earn the combined victory points from the shields of that bastion. Blue's archer would earn all 8. If there are multiple battle units within the bastion, then a fight for the points must ensue. Each unit has a strength equal to the victory point shield underneath them. Here, we see that red has a strength of 3, blue also has 3, and green has 2. This would be a tie, and red and blue would both earn 8 points. Green would earn nothing. To avoid this, during the game, the players have added battle modifiers. This is now the moment of reckoning. When they are turned over, the winner will be the unit with the highest strength. In this example, red has a total of 4. Green has 5, and blue is still at 3. Green has the most strength, so red and blue are removed, leaving green to stand alone. Green wins the 8 total bastion points. Battle modifiers are for winning bastions. They do not count as victory points. Now, we resolve the battle between red and white in the forest. Both players reveal their battle modifier points and add them to the shield number. White has a strength of 5, whilst red has 7. Red wins the 6 points from the forest bastion. After the battle is resolved, battle modifiers and battle units are removed. Final scoring continues. Remember that plague cubes nullify shield points. They will not count as battle strength nor victory points. The last battle of the game is for a 3-tile hills bastion between red and blue. Notice one of the hill tiles is a plague activator. Its shield contains no points. The final battle modifiers are turned over. Red has a combined strength of 9, and blue has a combined strength of 8. Red wins 6 victory points. Well played, Red. After all victory points are scored, players compare scores to determine who has the most strength after the final battle. With 22 victory points, Green is the victor of the Fields of Agincourt. Thanks so much for watching the playthrough of Fields of Agincourt.